I really don't like going to workshops where people talk the whole time and you don't really get to do anything. And I think the definition of a workshop is that it should be interactive, right? Otherwise, it is more like a lecture, and it could just be like a YouTube video like this, right? So in this video, I'm going to show you and introduce a template for creating really engaging workshops. Workshops where people will come back week to week. Workshops where people will write great testimonials about it. They will have a lot of fun. They will connect with each other, which I think is the most important thing. And it'll lead to business and career growth, depending on wherever you're using it. Now, this can be used in online and in person. I basically use these principles for what I do now. And even after running workshops for how long, like 7 or 8 years, I still use this format. So let's dive in and let's talk about the engagement workshop template. So this is great for something that's 45 to 60 minutes. You want something that's interactive, meaning that the host and the person leading it is going to be talking to the participants, and the participants are talking to each other. Right? That's a really interactive type of workshop, and great for internal nurture from a business perspective. Obviously, if you want to encourage people to buy your product in the future, then this is a great one. But in like a more human way, it's just a great workshop for helping people learn stuff and to have a good experience. So a few things. We start off with the workshop title, of course, target audience. We want to define those here nice and clear at the top, and the main promise. And if we don't have these elements nice and clear, then how can we possibly design a really awesome workshop for them? So if you need to spend some time on that, spend some time on it, but get really clear on it. That is important. Now you can see hook, value, invitation. So I recommend any type of workshop that you run, it's a great model to have a hook, value, and then invitation. Cool. There's nothing innovative going on here. I'm just different names for things that float around the internet. So the hook, what I recommend, first starting with planning your opening statement. And the opening statement should, if there are new people attending, which should be common, then to just have a really quick statement that explains who you are, what you do, what the workshop is all about, to give them that sense of like, I know what's going on. And it can be easy when you have regulars week to week to kind of forget to do that part. So it's important just to have that written down. Now we want the promise. So what is the one outcome, or it could be multiple, but ideally it's just one outcome that people are going to walk away with at the end of your workshop? Be really clear about that. And then you can reverse engineer to make sure the activities are suitable. From this part, I would recommend choosing one. And so you could either talk about like the 3 pain points that are addressed, which is basically what problems it solves. So talk about, it's going to help you regrow your hair. It's going to help you get confident, and it will bring your eyesight back, or whatever the outcomes are. A story works really well at this part. It's really nice to introduce a workshop with a story and a narrative that is something that the target audience can relate to. And it doesn't have to be long, just like a minute or two, and you can actually embed the pain points into there. So this is probably my favorite method if I have time to prepare. Last one, a quick poll. It's great to start with some sort of poll to find out how much people know. So something really simple, if you're running like a business skills workshop, then saying like, what is your confidence in, I don't know, like offer creation? And then you get a gauge. So if everyone's like a 5 out of 5, then you can do more advanced strategies. And if you've got like some are 5, some are 1, then maybe there's some groups there. This is like what teachers do essentially, making sure that we've got some data, and then we can customize things on the fly as we go to make sure that everyone has the best possible experience. So it gives you that opportunity. Otherwise, it's just something fun to break the ice and get people interacting, especially if they don't know each other at all. So that's what I recommend in the hook. We don't want to spend too much time there. Less than 10 minutes, and ideally at the 10-minute past the hour mark, if we're starting on the hour, we want to be getting into the main value. So for the value, really straightforward. You can have multiple teaching blocks. I'm going to explain what I typically do here. So want the main point really clear, explanation, an example, maybe a visual diagram is really helpful. And it's so easy these days with AI to create that. And then getting into some sort of activity. And the activities could just be as simple as a discussion, could be an open discussion with a group of people. But I love to do breakout rooms because I love to give people the privacy to have a chat one-on-one, to catch up and then do the activity and feel like they're making new connections. I guess because my community is around speaking and communication, there is an intrinsic benefit to people coming along and chatting with each other, practicing speaking with different people from different countries, and even just catching up as friends, like as a global community. So for me, I always want to create space for that. And it's usually a simple activity with plenty of time. Lastly, we come back, summarize and recap what happened. That's really straightforward, but that's just to consolidate the learning outcome and also to check to see whether people understood it. And if not, we can always find another way to approach them or talk about it. And this is the time to clarify. So what I actually do, I only introduce one main idea, right? I do a main promise and one activity. but I'll typically have 2 breakout rooms, so they get to interact with different people, and that just makes it more fun, right? And then they don't have to think about this new activity. They already know what to do. They can build on what they did last time, consolidate the ideas more strongly, and then actually interact with someone new. So that's why I cross these out, but typically I might reconsolidate an example just to make sure that people know what's going on, or maybe, I didn't explain it properly at the beginning, and then now we can consolidate and make it nice and clear. Cool. So do that, pretty straightforward. 15 to 20 minutes is a good amount of time. And then a summary and recap. And that will take you pretty much to the end. And we want to do a nice quick recap at the end. Maybe some people want to share in front of everybody. I like to give them that opportunity as well, because it's very growth inducing to speak up and step up and share something you've just learned with the whole group. So that's cool. It's also interesting to hear the experiences people have in the breakout rooms as well. Last step, the invitation. So I think this is something that often gets missed I've observed quite a lot of workshops from different business owners and professionals, and it's definitely something that gets missed. And here, people often think about an invitation as like the CTA, the call to action. So you have to sell something or make them do something. And I guess it's an invitation to do something. And I like this because I think that it primes participants to know that at the end, there's going to be something small to do. And if it is maybe that one workshop where you are selling something, then they're going to be more primed to you selling it. It's not going to be so abrupt. But if you don't do an invitation week to week, and then suddenly you want to sell something, right, it's going to be quite jarring. So I like to use an engagement invitation, which basically just has them doing something that adds to the engagement of the online community that I run. And so often it's just asking them to write a reflection. And I think that it's very simple. It's got some great learning outcomes. It's also good so they can consolidate what they learned. But then I also get to know what their experience was inside the breakout rooms. And they get to shout out other members, and it just helps for building relationships. I love it. It's really simple. So you ask them to do that, and that's it. An education one might be asking them to do some sort of homework or task. Maybe this workshop is part of a series, and they're going to come back next week with some sort of task. So that's the invitation to actually do some of the work or carry it on. A relationship invitation, I would consider this to book a one-on-one call to maybe consolidate or go a step further, kind of like a selling something, I guess, more in that range, but it can just be a free call for certain people for certain reasons. So that might be the invitation. And then lastly, it might be about conversion in terms of wanting to sell something, some limited time offer or whatever. But look, I pretty much only use this, and I do it all the time. Every workshop, encouraging people to do reflections, but sometimes I ask them to invite another member if there's anyone that they know. Sometimes it's about an upcoming speech competition that we're running or something like that. So the structure of that, just what it is you ask, also making sure you mention why it matters, how, obviously, as well. Sometimes we assume that people know what to do. But giving them a really clear example, showing them exactly where and how and why is important, especially for anyone that's new. We don't want to assume anything. And then lastly, some Q&A if there's time. For me, there's typically not time for that. But yeah, it's always good to leave a little bit of time at the end. Sorry, excuse me. All right, awesome. So that is the engagement workshop template. I hope that it's helpful. And once again, you can get a copy of that link down below. If you have any questions, come join my community. You can ask me, but hope that's helpful for you. All right, awesome. See you later.